Hello, I'm Daniela. In today's video, I'm going to show you an in-depth look at creating Christmas ribbon clusters. Now, I geared these to use in my Christmas journal, the Stitch the Season journal, but these are perfect to use in any type of fabric book or just a little accessory, even in a junk journal. I use Christmas ribbons, fabric, and other things that I can get my hands on. And you can attach these to a safety pin for fabric, a garment pin, again for fabric, or even a paper clip in case you want to put it in a journal that has paper in it. It tags nicely to the paper. I'll show you some variations and different fun ways to make them. So let's get started. So these fabric clusters are just a really enjoyable little extra for a journal. They can be even used in paper journals like junk journals or art journals, and you could replace the little pin here with a paper clip and that will hold it as well. If you don't want to use a pin, like I have here, this little garment pin, you can use a safety pin, or you can skip the pin altogether and just stitch it into place. So there are so many options. Here I took a little stamped piece of fabric just for the text, cut it up with pinking shears because I thought that looked really cute. I added in some beautiful lace and some velvet ribbon for texture, and I have just a little beautiful cluster that adds interest to my journal. Let me show you how I make these. These couldn't be easier, and they're really fun. Now I punched a grommet on my little fabric piece here, the one that says Be Joyful, because it just gives it a little reinforcement, a little visual image. But I didn't do that with the ribbon. I just pierced right through it. So it's just an option. It's really just aesthetically pleasing. If you don't want to use that, you don't have that, no worries. You don't have to do that. You can even fake one by taking a marker and going around that area. So there's so many things you can do. Now you might want to add something additional to this, like a simple little charm or bead. There's so many things. There's so many fun things you can do with this. Now you might want to add a bead or a charm to this as well, just up here in the pin. There's just so many fun ways you can go with this. So to get started for my fabric book, and again, this step is optional if you don't want to use it or don't have it, I have a garment pin or a safety pin of all sizes with the safety pin. I have some little jingle bells because I just love that noise at Christmas. I know some people it drives them nuts, but I love it. I have some little charms here. These are little angels in different colors. I might use that. I have some beads. I have additional beads off camera. And then I have some little Subway tokens. I think these were a Tim Holtz product one year that I got. I have a bunch of little lace scraps, 4 to 6 inches or longer, whatever I saved in my scrap lace bin. This one is much shorter, but it's thicker. And I just thought, oh, I might be able to use that in a little cluster. I have some white rickrack. This is very old, but I love it. Look at the texture on that. When that's peeking through or shadowed behind the lace, you just get another element. I have this little ribbon with the satin dark green and the lace, some velvet red ribbon. This is a thin Merry Christmas ribbon that is printed on it. This is a much thicker one. Oh, I love that. Then I have something completely untraditional, the blue, the red, and the white. So I can play around with that. I think I found a blue angel right there. It's already got me thinking about that. So that's definitely one I'm going to make today. If you don't have ribbon, don't want to use ribbon or lace, you can always make your own by just taking fabric and either cutting it or tearing it into strips. So I'm a little partial to that snowman. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. But for here, I can get a whole bunch of strips of what will soon be ribbon out of this piece. Beautiful edging here, beautiful colors. Just play around with that. So why don't we start? I'll start by making this one. Push everything aside. This is how I work. It's a mess. But for this project, it can be. And I'll just cut this down as well. Now, I don't know if I'm going to combine these all in one cluster or make multiple clusters with this. But I have 3 narrow little strips there, which I really like. I wonder what would go with that. Maybe a little bit of lace. Oh, maybe this thick lace would go nicely with that. You can have that peeking out the bottom. Oh, I like that. So I'll just trim up some of these frayed edges. Maybe fold that over. And I'll have the lace on top. Then I need a few more things just to set that off. So I'll think about that. It might be too much lace. I'll come in here. Yeah, I like it with the red. So I'll clip that, maybe make little tails at the end here. And I think I'll make this just a little bit shorter. And that's already one cluster. I can add more to it if I like. Maybe a little bell. That might be very cute. So now I'll work on another one. Let's jump right in with that blue one, with that angel. Remove the little wire that held that angel to the tab when I purchased it. And I like that there's a saying on these. So that's pretty long. I don't think I want that long a cluster. I'll trim it right after that snowflake. This is just the process of playing around to see what you can come up with. That's too narrow. I like that. And then maybe some rickrack. I'll double over the rickrack. Oh yeah, I like that. I'll put that behind that piece, and I'll add the angel on the pin. Let's do one more together. I think I'm going to make a really thick and chunky one. I'm going to use this fabric. I really want that wording to show, so I'll flip this over. This is going to be a long cluster. And I'll use this one because I really like the way the color plays off of it. Can even put it behind. Maybe trim this down just a little. Yeah, that's nice. Let me see if I can find another off-white color, either ribbon or lace. I like that one. Trim that down. And there I have 3 clusters, and I can tidy them up some more. So now I think I want to incorporate some text into this one. I really love text. I don't know if that's big enough. So here's just some image I stamped onto some muslin with a backing. I can trim it down to size. And I like that. I'll trim it down just a little bit further. So let's start with that one. I have all my little pieces here. And I think I'm going to have the Be Joyful on top. And I'll punch a hole. I have this tool here. I think it's called a crocodile. I'm going to take it, use the hole punch feature here on this side. It doesn't completely remove the fabric like it does on paper, but it does a beautiful job. All I have to do is snip it off. Now from there I'm going to choose a grommet. Let's see. Take that red one, put it through that hole. It's pretty snug. Then I take one of the little backing pieces and I put it on the backing piece. And I like to press it into place. And then I can take this tool, catch it, and just get that grommet to stay in place. And now all I do is I take my pin, I'll take a garment pin for this. I want to thread everything through. So I start with the last piece, which is going to be this fabric piece, which I wanted folded over right at the end. Poke through the fabric, then the lace, and I like to go fairly deep on that lace just so it anchors it in place. Poke through that velvet ribbon. I can feed right through that grommet, and now right through that little bell. And now my cluster is all done and it's ready to go in my book. I'll do the same thing with these, attaching them together. For this one though, I'm just going to fold. So now I'll do the same thing with the remaining two, just for variation. I'll use a safety pin for this one. So I have my two laces. I'm going to take my major fabric here, my large ribbon, fold it over. And I'll take a medium-sized pin. And I'm going to stick it backwards instead of, I'm going to stick it into the back instead of into the front here. Do I want a pin? Do I want a ball on that? Let's see, do I want a bead on that? No, how about a token? So I'll remove the pin, thread through the token, and there I have another little cluster ready to go. And for my last one, I'll use a garment pin for that one. Just going to decide where I want everything. Fold over that lace just to give it a little more body. I'll open up this garment pin. I'm going to go through the top again this time. Go back to putting this in position. Making sure I catch all the layers. And then I'll just trim up this rickrack. Might have to press that with an iron to get rid of that kink, but it looks adorable. So there I have a bunch of fabric clusters that I can use in my fabric journal. I can really go to town and spend all day making these. It's just a matter of putting together different fabrics and textures and colors. It's a very fun process. So that's how I make my Christmas ribbon clusters. I think it's just a nice little textured accessory that you can really personalize based on the colors that you like, the ribbon that you have, and the fabric that you like to use. It's a great little interest piece to add to your journals or even a card or gift. They're just so beautiful. All the textures of the lace, the ribbon, the fabric, the colors, oh, just gorgeous. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. And please consider becoming a paid member of my channel, where I give behind-the-scenes footage and extra techniques. Thanks for joining me today.